All right, everybody, we're getting ready to start here in just a couple of minutes, so stick around. We're just waiting for the last player to get in here, and then we're going to move into starting up the game, so just stay tuned.
Casualty manipulated apathy, your soul wounded, not another world. Why can't we ever learn that we're here bracing for the massacre at the point of no return?
Alrighty, we are here, ready to go into this game. Welcome, everybody, to the Gentlemen's League, Salge versus Penta. So, Tim, how's it going? Welcome.
James Bot, I'm really happy to be here with you, casting the game of Salge versus Penta Sports. This is Penta's first game and return to the Evolve competitive scene since they got sponsored by Penta. They were originally Hard On You, a well-known PC competitive team in the Go4Evolve Cups.
Yeah, and that's really big news with an esports organization like Penta, very well known with some top teams in games like Counter-Strike coming out here to the Evolve scene and sponsoring what's been probably one of the best teams in the scene. So really awesome to see, and we've seen how good they are. They really do deserve that sponsorship. They're a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, definitely. They've definitely been one of those top teams that, they've won so many Go4Evolve Cups, and then they've won a bunch of monthly, maybe one monthly final. So, I mean, they're definitely a force to be reckoned with, and definitely one of the best PC teams in competitive Evolve.
Yeah, I think the statistic might be a little bit outdated, but the last time I checked, when it came to series win-loss ratio, Penta was 92 point something percent wins in series. So really, really good win percentage there.
Just
And
insane.
yeah, but looks like we're getting ready to lock in here, and it seems like the standard Kyra Hank duo coming out, and we also have Maggie and Hyde coming out. So it's interesting to see we're not going Abe. That has been a common trapper pick nowadays, but now Shwazy going with Maggie.
Yeah, I think one of the things that Maggie brings to the team is that Daisy, it's that extra team member that can sneak in some of those revives, so that all the other hunter players on your team don't have to waste their time. They can stick to their jobs, let Daisy do hers. And also the harpoon traps are really detrimental, especially to Aftershock Kraken builds. So, I mean, if you get hit with one of those harpoons as you're traversing Aftershocking, then you'll definitely be dragged to the ground and may not get to your target on time to deliver that damage.
Yeah, and in those clutch moments, that could be the difference between living and dying in a dome. So we're going in here into the game. We've got Legendary coming out, playing Goliath here for Penta Sports. And then you can see him working his way into the corner of the map right now. Well, we'll cover the hunters here for the Salge side. We've got Tharmak playing Hyde on Assault. We've got Akath playing Kyra on Medic. Practical One playing Hank as support, and Shwazy playing Maggie as Trapper. So we'll bring up the mini-map and see how they choose to approach Legendary here, and see if they can find him quickly right out of the gate. So what do you think about this spread? Normally, how would you approach this spread right here? Do you go 2-2, or does everybody go off in their own direction?
Well, I think the way that Rendering Plant is played right now is that like most of the monsters will always rush to the south side because you've got so many options to kind of escape from the hunters. Like, you know, you can go to the far east and up north to the far west and pull off a sneak. And one of the things that Maggie provides is that daisy tracking. So, you know, there's no chance for the hunters to actually get lost. You know, the monster will always have the ability to be tracked.
Yeah, for sure. And there are ways to get around Daisy's AI, but it certainly takes a lot of practice. And it's not so easy to pull off all the time. So you can see them. They've got Legendary pointed out here, and really the key player here is the Trapper trying to move into position to trap Legendary here. And now they're just going to have to wait and see how this plays out. He does have a little bit of area to work with to try to juke this dome, but it's going to be quite the challenge. So, and it looks like he successfully was able to get out of here. So this could be a pretty rough start here with him being able to get away. Do you think he's going to be able to pull off a stage 2 without getting caught, or is there enough space for the hunters to be able to catch him?
Well, I think one of the things that Maggie can do to prevent the monsters from getting out of those areas is like setting up the traps like preemptively, so that if he does make a break for one of the sides, like he will eat those harpoon traps, potentially waste a traversal and allow the hunters to catch back up.
Yeah, for sure. And you saw him here try to sneak even on Daisy. I wonder if this is going to pay off. You can see they're already within 80 meters, so it's not like he was able to capitalize on all of that time. And you can see him coming out here doing a little bit of burst on Tharmac, but still these hunters in the chase mode, and Legendary just trying to work with as much of the map as he can. But it looks like he's going to have a tough time getting out of this without having to take a stage 1 fight.
Yeah, this is Rendering Plant is definitely a new map in the competitive scene. You know, we've never seen it really in an official match yet, so it's going to be really interesting to see how the monster can actually navigate it. Rendering Plant does have like a really big choke point right in the middle there, so it does make it hard.
Yep, you can see him choosing. He goes 2 rock, 3 leap smash, 1 fire, and he decided instead of trying to run away and take a stage 1 full shields fight, he's going to go a stage 2 no shields fight. So he's going to have to be really aggressive here and try to take out that Trapper and do as much damage as he can, or just try to hide and make sure he takes minimal damage, being able to escape. So we're going to see the positioning here. You can see he's trying to go in a defensive spot, and Tharmac coming in, flushing him out. Practical One, and there's those Maggie harpoons coming into play like you had mentioned before. So what do you think Legendary is going to have to do to get out of this dome and make it successful for him?
I think it's going to be really tough for Legendary to get out of this. I mean, the Maggie harpoon spam is really detrimental to any Goliath player. There's some weird mechanics going on right now with it, and if you just sit on the harpoons and you just keep spamming them, like Goliath can almost do nothing.
Yeah, and you can see that harpoon coming into play yet again, and him and Legendary just barely missing that rock throw on Hank, and he jumps straight up in the air, so he's taking a lot of damage here. He's going to get out with about half of his health left, and that was, it could have been worse, you know, with the stage 2 fights that we have been seeing lately. Getting away with half health is very workable.
Yeah, I think if a monster can get out of the dome with at least half their life left, then, you know, there's still a good chance for them to win the game. Currently, with the state of it, like, you know, if you go below that halfway point, there's a good chance you're gonna end up losing.
Yeah, for sure. And now Legendary getting his feet on, and there's still the possibility if he jukes this dome, or is able to get a full shield stage 2 fight, he's still in it. We've seen, especially with monsters like Girthzilla, who've made that 3 flame, 3 leap smash build popular. A Goliath is still incredibly dangerous at stage 2, and although Legendary decided to go rock, Legendary's still a top Goliath on the scene, so I would not count him out in this next fight that we're going to see coming up.
I've never been a big fan of the 3 leap, 3 flame breath build that Girthzilla has popularized. and Legendary also has popularized that build. I mean, those two Goliath players have really brought that into the scene. For some reason, Rock Throw just kind of dropped off because people saw Legendary and Girthazilla using that build specifically. So I'm really happy to see Rock Throw back in the game. I think it's one of Goliath's best abilities and also allows for a lot of strategy.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to being tougher. You know, it's tougher to hit those rocks, and it can be devastating if you miss them. You know, like the consistency of damage that you get with Flame and Leap Smash, it's arguably more consistent with Rock Throw just because Rock Throw, the way that it works, just the mechanics of it, you have to be accurate. With Flame, you can hit multiple targets pretty easily, and also Leap Smash, if you use it right, it's a lot easier to hit than a Rock Throw. But Rock Throw, if you can hit it, is just so devastating. So Legendary is trying to bank on his accuracy, and we're going to see if he's able to capitalize on that accuracy in this next fight coming up. And you can see the Evolve meter just about to get maxed out, so he's going to be able to, right after this next dome, he's going to be able to go stage 3. So this is a pretty awesome fight that we're getting ready to see.
One of the things that I think that Rock Throw really brings to the game is that, like, if you're getting chased by the hunters, you can always pick up that rock and throw it back at you and use it as a deterrent for the hunter squad to keep chasing.
Absolutely.
Like, they can eat huge damage, and you know, if you get that pick as the monster, you can follow up with another engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. And you saw the great dome dodge by Legendary there. Now he's got full shields. We'll see if he chooses to fight here at stage 2 with full shields. But it looks like just by him wanting to dodge that dome, he's going to try to get stage 3. And he's got a lot of health here, and depending on how quick these hunters are to catch up, this is a great situation for Legendary. Really solid job dodging that dome, baiting it out, and now we're going to go over to Maggie and see how far Maggie is away. Just a shade under 100 meters out. Legendary's going to probably start evolving soon, unless he's going to go for a sneak. And you can see him a little bit off the trail. Maggie just finding some tracks. But Legendary trying to out-sneak the AI, and you can see Tharmak just jumped right over him. Does he turn around? And he does. He gets the ping off, so Legendary does not realize that they saw him, and Tharmak is going to be hot on his trail. Legendary realizes they know exactly where he is, so he's going to use up those traversals and try to get as much space as he can away. And you can see he's over 140 meters away from Shwazy the Trapper. So this is a great situation for Legendary. He's just going to try to find a good spot to evolve. You can see him heading back in here into the caves to avoid that orbital, and he's going to be going stage 3.
I think if the monster can get away, you know, with the evolve 150 meters out, if he can come out of the cocoon with 100 meters still remaining on the assault, then he's gonna come away with a win from that evolve. I think that's definitely how the monsters need to play the game right now with the current meta.
Absolutely, and Legendary just doing an awesome job of sneaking, utilizing sneak there, being able to get extra distance, and you can see here dodging the dome yet again, and now he has 3 3-point abilities. Maxed out rock, maxed out leap smash, and also maxed out flame breath. So he is going to be quite deadly, and we'll see if these hunters give chase or if they decide to set up on the relay, and I honestly don't know what the better choice is at this moment.
That dome miss was just a huge win for Legendary. You know, the ability for him to, like, get some more food is going to force the hunters to have to go back and defend the relay.
Yeah, and you can see him doing some cloak, probably maybe to just dodge some of the wildlife. But now, what we used to see in the older meta at the beginning, you know, practicing your relay fights, that seemed to kind of take a back seat to the stage 2 no-shield domes. But now, we're going to see a stage 3 fight with Legendary rocking 2/3 of his health and all the hunters having no marks. So this is going to be an awesome fight that we're about to see. But if you're Legendary, you've got to be dreading the Maggie harpoons in this relay fight coming up.
One of the things that Maggie definitely excels at is those defensive relay fights. With all those harpoons that she can spam, it's going to be a really tough time for Goliath to actually move around inside the fight.
So I think when you've got these traps like this set up, you've got to make that first flame breath phenomenal. You want to take out as many of these traps as possible and also hit a player if you can. These traps are going to be quite the nuisance, and Legendary is just going to have a really good engagement. Otherwise, I wouldn't be surprised to see him kind of poke in and run out, because those traps are just going to be a pain.
One of the things that you can do with Maggie is almost set up like a pentagon of the traps. Like, you've got like the 5 points, and it makes it really difficult for Goliath to actually destroy all of them when they do go off on him. And if the Goliath does get caught in the center of those harpoon traps, he's going to have to swing, turn, swing, turn, swing to actually get all those traps broken, and Hank can come in with an orbital strike.
Absolutely, and you see Legendary hitting all of his abilities, just dishing out tons of damage. Acath is almost going down. Practical One calling in the orbital, trying to get some of this pressure off, but Practical and Acath very low. One ability can take him down. They decide to bring out the dome. Hank having some clutch shields there. Acath going down if not for that shield, so the Hank shield's back up, but all these hunters are really low. Legendary getting ready to finish off Acath, but Hank just doing an awesome job keeping him alive, but Acath goes down. Practical One, just a little bit of health left, and now they have no medic up to do any healing, so Legendary's going to finish off this medic here, and we're going to see whether he chooses to run or whether he tries to finish the fight right here, but 2 hunters down. Now Tharmak and Shwazy, all that's left up.
That was an awesome rock interception by Tharmak there that saved the Acath for just a split second.
Yeah, but Tharmak is so close to going down. Shwazy going down inevitably, and Tharmak, the last one alive, he has his personal shields, but the bounce comes in, and Legendary is going to be taking game 1 and a dominating performance, and what an exciting relay fight that we got to see there. What a treat.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see that the Hunters did end up losing Rendering Plant. One of the big concerns going into TGL was that Rendering Plant was so Hunter favored, but here you can see the Monster coming out with a really definitive win.
Yeah, what do you think was the key play that really led to his victory? Was it the dome dodge that allowed him to get that stage 3 evolve? Or was it the earlier dome dodge that allowed him to continue buying a little bit of extra time?
I think those dome dodges were definitely make or break for the game for Legendary. I think that when he did dodge that stage 3 dome coming out, pretty much almost secured the win for him.
Absolutely. And really, he was utilizing that sneak pretty effectively. Although he wasn't able to completely lose the trail of the Hunters, he did get in a position where when the Hunters realized where he was able to use all of his traversals to get over 140 meters away. And that's really something we hardly ever see. And it makes you wonder if in the next match they're going to try to go Abe to prevent that kind of thing from happening, but then that can also kind of hurt you if you don't find the monster right out of the gate.
I think the sneaking meta is really starting to come into play in competitive. I think if a monster player can use sneak effectively, it's going to win him games. And Maggie is one of those picks that prevents the sneak from the start. But then if you have Abe, on the other hand, if you find the monster and you get that dart in him, you won't be able to sneak for the rest of the game. So it's a big trade-off between the two. You don't see Griffin used too much right now because Abe and Maggie are so dominant, and they have like those strengths to rely on.
Absolutely. So we're just going to be waiting here for just a moment, getting these teams swapped in and out. We're going to just go to a tiny break, and then we'll be back in just a few minutes. So just stick around, and we will be right back. Hey everybody, just hang tight. We're almost ready to go, so just hang tight for just a few more minutes and we will start the next game. Game 2, and this Salge versus Penta matchup with Penta taking game 1. So just hang around. We'll be right back. All right, here we are going to be starting back up. We've got the players in here, and we will be going into the Pentas playing Hunters here on Rendering Plant against the Monster for Salge. So, Tim, we saw an awesome game there, a defend the relay fight that we haven't seen for some time, and really it lived up to I think it lived up to all expectations, especially with Legendary being so punishing with that rock and hitting all his abilities.
Yeah, I think that was a really refreshing return to the way that competitive Evolve had first appeared on the scene. Like, you haven't seen too many Stage 3 fights at the relay in a long time. And it was really good to see, like, a Monster, play the game the way it was intended, be able to come into that relay fight and dish out some real damage at Stage 3.
Absolutely. And you can see Penta deciding to go with this same Trapper pick. So Maggie coming out yet again, so it has to be something with the map that these top tier teams, they just like running Maggie on this map more. Maybe just because it's so much bigger and there's a lot of line of sight issues that you could come across as Abe. So anyway, we're going to be jumping in here into the game. We've got Cojones playing Kraken here for Salge. He has been around the scene for quite a while. Cojones, a very well-known Kraken player, and he has the skills to boot. For the Penta side, we have Challenge playing Hyde on Assault. We've got Banule playing Medic with Kyra, and I'm sure I butchered that pronunciation. And we have the Thingy playing Support as Hank, and Sarasim playing Maggie on Trapper.
And then we've got Daisy, the fifth member of the Hunter Squad.
Yeah, and not an unimportant member at all. Last but not least, for sure, Daisy can come up quite big in many situations. So some pretty good food situation right out of the gate for Cojones.
One of the things that I'd like to point out is that Penta has always run Maggie exclusively. They've never valued any other Hunter pick. And if the series ever went into a tiebreaker match, I would definitely ban Maggie from their team. I know a lot of people don't value banning the Trapper, but because Penta relies so heavily on him, I think that would really throw a big wrench in their strategy.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I'm sure that some teams might consider that, but at these top tiers, I wouldn't be surprised if Sarasim knew how to play more than just Maggie. So I bet they could make it work, but it could be a very good mental game to try to play with these guys.
Yeah, one of the things that we've brought into the TGL is that ability to ban characters at the tiebreaker match. So what would happen is if it was a tiebreaker, you would have one side pick a team, Monster or Hunters, and then the other team, to counter that ability to pick sides, gets to ban either 2 Hunters or 1 Monster.
Oh, and you can see Cojones going for the Evolve here. He does have this tunnel to work with. It's very a good spot because you can vortex people right off that cliff face, but they are going to be doing a lot of damage here before he's even able to finish his Evolve.
Yeah, if Penta can do a lot of damage here, they could end the game off this dome.
Yeah, but that that aftershock doing a lot of damage, but he doesn't really have any loops to work with, and you can see them setting up in this cave to deny that positioning to him. But Cojones is just trying to fight at the mouth of this cave, locking all these players in it, and Banule is getting really close to going down here. Hank Shield's coming up, but yes, you can see them clawing in the orbital to try to relieve some of that pressure. Cojones already down to half health, so this is looking rough for him.
I think Cojones definitely should have stayed in that cave. He had the entire Hunter squad grouped up there. There's no way that Kyra can keep up with that healing. I think that was a big misplay by Cojones right there.
Yeah, you see Banley just trying to stay alive. This is an all-out blitz by Cojones trying to down him, and it looks like he will get down here, but now he's got to get Saracen down if he hopes to get out of this dome with a little bit of health. And you can see Challenge over here trying to get the res, and they're still dishing out quite a bit of damage to Cojones. So Cojones does get the mark on the medic, and if he can get out of this dome alive, he still may be able to make this work. Getting one strike already on Kyra, but he needs to get away right now.
Yeah, you know, he took down the medic, but at what cost? You know, he lost so much life from that one strike. And sure, he did straight out kill him, but you know, he's got to go and get that armor now, and he's got to go back into a fight at stage 2. There's no way that he can go for a stage 3 evolve. Otherwise, he'll just have lost too much for that one strike.
Yeah, that's a great point. So what we're probably going to see coming out of Cojones here is him trying to just get as much shields as possible and then come back and finish off these players before the medic gets back from the dropship. So these hunters, looks like Challenge was trying to deny a little bit of feed there, but you can see them now splitting out to several corners of the map. They just want to survive as long as possible because they know that Cojones is going to be coming back in here and trying to take them out all individually. So good call, Tim, and it looks like Penta is expecting this strategy. So you can see this positioning is going to be coming into play, and we'll have to see how Cojones responds.
This is like clockwork from Penta, you know, immediately their medic goes down, they know that they can't fight, so they spread out to try to drag out the game, make sure that the dropship lands, and the medic can heal up their team. Now, one of the things that Cojones can do here is he can actually try to get one of the hunters low, wait for that dropship timer to go off, and then kill them so that they don't actually respawn on the dropship with the medic.
Yeah, that is a very viable strategy. You can see Cojones spotting out the thingy, and the thingy is just trying to run away here. He uses the cloak, or she uses the cloak effectively and gets out of there. So a lot of time getting burnt right here. Really awesome job by Penta, and you got to wonder if thingy baited that right there because she knew that she had the cloak ready and available and just doing an awesome job eating up this clock.
Yeah, Thingy's definitely one of the best supports in competitive PC Evolve. I've seen her do quite a few things, you know, and as a girl gamer, you know, she really shines. You know, I think girls have taken a pretty bad rap at playing games competitively, but Thingy is just, you know, she's an exception to that rule that people have stereotyped, and I've seen some really amazing plays from her.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see just with the popularization of games, it's not just for guys or girls or whatever. Everybody's a gamer, and even just some of the Counter-Strike teams, the Pro CS teams, I mean, I've gotten my butt kicked by several girl gamers, so I don't even look at that anymore. And you can just see Thingy paving the way, being on the first team that even gets sponsored by an esports organization. So it's great to see that. And also, just a phenomenal player all around, and a very good play there, baiting Cojones into chasing her into that cave and then using the cloak to get away. So then Cojones only has one strike to show for all that effort.
Yeah, Cojones is going for this evolve right here. He should be able to get out of it without eating a dome, and that's a big win for him. You know, he's only got like those 3 bars of life. It's going to be rough for him. You know, he's only got that one strike on the Hunter squad, and it's not even on Hank. To get through Hank is probably the most important thing that a monster can do.
Absolutely. And so Cojones is still not out of this yet, though. Even though he did lose a lot of his health, he was able to get out of that with stage 3 without having to take the dome. So really good play for him. He was able to try to hunt those hunters down and then still get away and get to stage 3. So it's a good position for him to be in, or the best that he could have hoped for given the circumstances. And now we're going to see another stage 3 relay fight, except now it's going to be from the point of view of a Kraken going to get up against this Hunter team. as opposed to Goliath. So we'll see how this Kraken handles the Maggie traps. We saw Legendary on Goliath was able to handle it just fine, and now Cajones going up against a really strong team on this relay.
Yeah, Penta has definitely excelled at defending the relay. You know, they've already got their placements up. They know exactly where they want to fight. They want to fight right on top of the relay because it's wide open. The monster has to stay and commit. It allows Hank to get those critical shields on his team members. You know, and it's also like a really good area where the hunters can spread out and not be forced to group up into that aftershock.
Absolutely. Do you think Cajones is going to try to force Banley down since he already has one strike?
I think it's a really tough place for Cajones to go in here right now. You know, he has to focus down that Hank. The Hank is just way too important of a target right now. You can see he's already gone in. He's trying to burst him down. Thingy popped that cloak though. And, you know, it forces Cajones to switch to the medic, but Thingy's just right on top of those shields right away.
Oh, and the lightning strike misses. That was a devastating miss. That's going to be really tough for Cajones. None of these players really have much health damage at all, and the dome comes down at the perfect time, locking in Cajones. He's going to have to go all-out DPS right here if he has any hope of getting out of this dome alive or taking the victory.
He has to switch to that trapper right now. He has to get out of that dome. He doesn't have enough life to survive. You know, he's got to go through 2 defensive characters to get to that trapper. This could be the end for Cajones right here.
Yep, and you can see Sarasim recognizing that and positioning himself in a way so he does not go down. He has full health, even though the medic is down. Cajones goes down at stage 3 on the relay. What an exciting fight, and Penta showing why they are a top team in this scene. So Tim, what do you think Cajones could have done to try to make a better use of that stage 3 fight there?
I think Cajones was in a really tough position there. You know, he was forced to have to go on the trapper because the armor, when it goes down to such a point, the trapper will throw that dome. He will get locked into that death combat. And there's really almost nothing you can do unless you dedicate all your armor into killing that trapper and getting out of the dome, you know, getting more armor and going back and re-engaging.
Yeah, and you could see there that timing on the dome, they knew that's what he wanted to do. It seemed like right from the beginning, Penta was just on point with recognizing the situation in the game. You could see that as soon as Banley went down that first time and they didn't have a medic, they split up immediately into those three corners of the map. And then they were able to survive really without taking another strike. And then also with the dome coming down at the perfect time to lock Cajones into his death. So Penta was just on point, making the right plays when they had to.
Yeah, that was the Penta's Hunter Squad returning to their first game in the competitive Evolve scene. You know, you can see that they haven't lost any of their game. They're really on point. They know their strategies. I think we can expect a lot of awesome things from Penta in the future.
Absolutely. So we're just going to go to a quick break here as the next teams, we're going to do another swap and get going. The next map is going to be Distillery, so just hang tight and we will be right back. All right, we'll be starting here in just a minute, maybe 90 seconds or so. It's going to be very quickly. We're just getting some final settings, and then we will be good to go. So just stick around for just a moment longer. Alrighty, we are going to be jumping in here in just a second. So it looks like the teams are in the lobby and we are ready to go. Just getting this final map set up. We are on Distillery here. So Tim had to go bounce and deal with some real life stuff, which happens occasionally. So I will just be taking over for the rest of the stream. But Tim, thank you for coming and casting. It was a big help and really bringing a lot of insight to this cast. So we will definitely be seeing you next time. And I hope the real life stuff goes well. So in the meantime, we'll just have to look at your lovely chair as we get ready to go into this game 3 of Penta versus Salge. So Penta doing an awesome job showing why they get that, or why they got that esport sponsorship with Penta, by just being a dominating team. And although they haven't been competing in many of the ESL tournaments, they are looking very on point, and their decision making has been spot on. And so now we're going into Distillery. We see that whereas the teams decided to go Maggie previously, now they are going Abe. So we're going to see that tracking dart definitely come into play. And we know Legendary has that ability to sneak. We saw him even sneak in that first game against Maggie. So now Legendary has a very big challenge ahead of him, trying to sneak right out of the gate against Shwazy, who will be playing Abe. So Legendary, this beginning of this game is something we're all going to keep our eyes on very closely. Oops, sorry about that. We're jumping into the game here. Salge down 0-2 versus Penta. Legendary is going to try to take this game 3 and close out this best of 5 series for Penta if he can. But Salge still not out of it just yet, and they are going to have to fight to just stay in it in this best of 5. So we'll cover the players once more. We see Legendary starting out with a sneak, we'll see, goes immediately for the water here. The water does mask his tracks, so he can run full speed and not have to worry about it. So you can see him working his way up north. So we'll go over to the Salge players. Tharmac playing Hyde on Assault for Salge. Akath playing Kyra on Medic. Practical One rolling Hank on Support. And Shwazy going Abe on Trapper. So we'll watch to see how Abe responds to this Legendary sneak right out of the gate. You can see these hunters are splitting up, looking for any kind of sign of where this monster is. So this is the downfall to Abe. You see that Abe is pretty far away from Legendary, 166 meters. Legendary is having a field day up at the north part of the map. These hunters just trying to find him as best they can. You know, Shwazy heading in the right direction here, but still not as fast as he'd like, closing in on Legendary. So he might have gotten some info that points to Legendary being over there, but Legendary still trying to sneak here. So this is a very important moment right here. We've got Shwazy right on the other side of this wall. So Shwazy just needs to find Legendary at this point. So close, yet so far away now. Shwazy decides that he is going to be backing up, getting in a more central position just in case Legendary tries to make a run for it. And Legendary continues to get his feet on. So this is good for Legendary. Being in the caves, he does not have to worry about birds. So the birds not triggering in these caves. And you can see some of that glaciopod dung over there. That is something that he can eat and continue to work up to his stage 2 evolve meter. So we're looking at the hunter positioning. They do appear to recognize that Legendary is in this cave. Shwazy's got a hint. Maybe he does hear him, and they will be setting up in a position to where they can catch a Legendary, hopefully right out of this gate. But still, Legendary has a great opportunity to dodge the Trapper and go directly south, and Shwazy must have seen him there. Shwazy looking over there, Legendary being visible for just a split second. And he does throw down, and oh, you can see Legendary just going for the Evolve right in the cave. Tharmak is going to be there, and he's going to be able to dish out a lot of damage. This Toxic Grenade coming out, and he's going to decide to go with minigun headshots as opposed to using his flamethrower. So a good job, and the dome comes down, locking Legendary in this cave. He does go the 2 rock, 3 leap, 1 flame that we saw him go before, and you can see Practical One caught out here. Practical One is solo, no Kyra heals available. Practical's in a tough spot, but does throw down the cloak and is able to get away. So you can see Legendary choosing to play this defensively, just trying to minimize some of this damage here. Decides to work back into the cave, probably going to use his rock here to push these players back potentially. Just trying to stay alive as best he can, using this cave effectively. Down to about 75% permanent health, and somehow that Leaf Smash does not do any damage to either one of these players. The rock throw hits Tharmak, but Tharmak getting quickly healed back up. Legendary still just trying to run around. You can see Practical coming out of the cave getting hit by that Leaf Smash, but he's still in no danger. These Hunters going full offensive mode, trying to do as much permanent health damage as they can to Legendary. Legendary trying to dodge that Tyrant there, and now using a traversal into the cave. So that dome coming down, and he's still stuck in this cave. You can see Legendary using up his traversals here, getting a little bit of shields, and now he's going to try to bypass these Hunters and get down to the south part of the map to evolve, or potentially finish off his shields and work towards that stage 3 evolve. So a good dome for the Hunters there, doing a lot of damage. Legendary just with a shade above 50% health, and these Hunters not taking any strikes. So you've got to be happy if you're the Salge team here. Legendary was doing a good job sneaking right at the beginning, but Abe ultimately finding where Legendary was, and they were able to get that dome and do a lot of damage. Legendary was in a position to potentially try to outrun Shwazy right at the beginning, but he chose to evolve in the cave, and you could see what he had to pay for with that, with Tharmak being just so close on his heels, being able to get a lot of minigun headshots in. So Tharmak doing a good job of trailing the monster, and also Shwazy and the Salge Hunter team with very little clues being able to sniff out Legendary and get that dome, be able to do that solid dome there. So anyway, we're going to be watching Legendary how he chooses to fight this spot. He's going to use his Leap Smash to try to... Well, that was strange. I don't know really what happened there. And now Legendary is stuck in another dome, but it is stage 2 full shield. So Legendary is in a good spot to do some damage here. We'll just have to see how well he hits his abilities. Rock, critical ability coming up. Practical doing a solid job of dodging that, using that piping for cover, not taking any damage from that rock throw. So you can see Legendary is now choosing to play a little bit defensive just because of that structure there. Makes it very difficult for Legendary to focus the support player there. You can see him trying to leap onto Practical unsuccessfully yet again. So Legendary, after missing these abilities, has to just try to conserve his shields and get out of this fight with as much shields or much permanent health as possible. So Tharmak coming in, getting pounced, but doing a good job of flushing out Legendary, flushing him out into the middle of the map, where Practical One can be doing a good job with that laser cutter, doing damage. And you can see Practical One taking that rock, but it's just a little too late, as Legendary doesn't have the shields really to commit to a fight, and Practical One getting healed up by Kyra. So Legendary gets out of that dome with taking no permanent health damage, and so it looks like it's just a wash. It does go in favor of the Hunters just because of the time limit, but you can see here the time limit, actually I'm not getting it up, but time limit will come into play. It is a 15-minute timer, so if these Hunters can draw the game out as long as possible, it is definitely in their favor to do that. So Legendary is going to need to try to get these shields up and also be able to get his evolve meter. You can see the Shwazy doing an awesome job of keeping that tracking dart on the monster. Legendary just trying to do his best to get away at this point. You can see Shwazy throwing down that stasis grenade, which slows down the monster, and now he's able to just Oh, it looks like Legendary did have an opportunity to get onto Shwazy, but Shwazy, knowing better than try to throw a dome, good attempt by Legendary to try to bait it out, but Shwazy did not buy it. So Legendary getting his feet on here, getting close to full shields and also a full evolve meter. So Legendary doing a good job so far, still keeping this game close. It's all going to come down to this next dome fight. If Legendary is able to dodge the dome, then he'll be in a great spot to get some distance and evolve. Or if he's able to just take a full shield stage 2 fight and be able to do a lot of damage and get some strikes, that would be favorable as well. But it just makes it so difficult as a monster when Abe is able to keep these tracking darts up on you. So Kyra coming in with the acceleration field, accelerating the entire Hunter team towards Legendary, and you can see him here working their way over just within 70 meters now. And Practical One coming in with the cloak, so they're going to try to get a cloaked dome off if possible here. We're going to keep our eye on Shwazy, who Shwazy recognizes he's probably just too far out, so he does try to move into a central position in the map to try to block off the escape route of Legendary here. We'll keep our eye on this mini-map to see how Shwazy responds. You can see Legendary decides to fight instead of run. ACAP taking a rock and a flame breath. Hank shields coming in, the heal burst coming out, the dome coming down, and the sloth here to play. So Shwazy, just barely dodges that leap smash. But this sloth is going to be wreaking havoc. Tharmak trying to do his best to clear out the sloth so they can take this fight to Legendary. Practical One stuck in this corner. This is going to be a tough spot, and he doesn't have that cloak up and available. So Practical One going to be going down here to this flame breath unless Kyra can come in and work some magic. So low, and he does have the cloak. It just comes back up, but Practical One is getting sniffed out, and the leap smash crushes Practical One. But the permanent shields, or the shields are gone, and now Legendary's taking permanent health damage. Does get a strike on Practical One, is able to get 3. Oh no, he does get 2 shield bars from that sloth there. So really good job from Legendary, getting a little bit of extra shields in the dome. Practical One coming back up, and now Legendary is just going to try to survive and take as much advantage of getting that strike on Practical One as possible. So now that we see Practical One getting that one strike, that one end cap, Legendary is going to be able to focus Practical One down that much easier. So now Practical One is going to be having to go into these fights with less maximum health than any of the other hunters, and Legendary really wants to take Practical One out just because Hank is so devastating with those defensive shields. So we see Legendary coming up with this stage 3 evolve. Shwazy poking his eye in here, but Shwazy doesn't have the dome left, or dome up on the cooldown. So we can see that 3 rock, 3 leap, 3 flame is the build that Legendary decides to go. Practical One calling in the orbital to try to stop Legendary from going to the north, but Legendary decides to go to the opposite direction anyway, doing a good job finding some food down here, and there's plenty of food for Legendary to work with. And he's going to be able to get up to full shields pretty quickly here. So we're going to see these hunters probably move into a good stage 3 position where they can keep Legendary off the relay and force him to fight where they want to set up. So we're going to see where Salge decides to set up in this stage 3 fight. We've got Legendary going on the relay, forcing these hunters into a position where they have to get him off. ACAP being the target of the initial engagement, and the rock throw missing all of the hunters there. We'll have to see if Legendary does decide to bounce out, missing that rock throw, that critical rock throw. You really want to be able to start the fight with a good engagement. Legendary realizing with that missed rock, it's probably a better idea to just back out, shield back up, and then go in. So you can see that it's exactly what he's doing. And now we'll have to see whether Legendary decides to focus. Oh, he does decide to focus Practical One. So Practical One's going to have to try to get away and use that cloak to try to force the focus onto another hunter. So you can see Legendary now putting his eyes on the trapper, Shwazy, just doing a good job of spreading out the damage. And you can see that he gets away from this orbital. Tharmak a little low, but he does have the personal shield still. Shwazy taking hit from that leap smash and that 3 flame. Kyra coming in with the heal burst, and Hank shields mitigating that rock throw. Really good job by Practical One, making sure that Shwazy didn't go down to that rock. And now Legendary is just doing as much damage to as many players as he can. You can see the rock throw missing there. Legendary bouncing out of the fight, deciding that it is not worth it to stick around and try to continue to fight, especially when the dome has not come down yet. So Legendary getting away with just a little bit of permanent shields, and he's going to go try to shield back up and go into this fight again. Fortunately, he does see a Mammoth Bird over here, and that's going to be a lot of shields, but Tharmac doing a solid job with that minigun, making sure that Legendary cannot eat this Mammoth Bird. So we'll see whether Legendary is going to continue to try to eat this just a little bit at a time, and he just decides to take a couple nibbles and leave. So Legendary is going to really have to get a good engagement. Salge doing an awesome job with their positioning there. Practical One doing a good job of making sure when he was focused that he was able to get away. And then Hank also, or Practical One also shielding Shwazy at a clutch time there. So really good job by the Salge team here. And you can see them setting up Akath with the Captain Morgan style. 1 foot on the rock. Very impressive. And now we've got Legendary coming in with full shields with 1 minute and 39 seconds left on the clock. He's going to have to do a lot of work. He's only going to be able to get a couple more, or maybe just one more stage 3 fight here. You can see Practical One taking a hit from that leap smash, and now on fire. If this rock hits, it could be devastating. It hits! Practical One so close to going down. He just needs to find where Practical One is. The orbital coming in defensively. Really good job splitting between the monster and Practical One on that orbital, but ACAT taking a lot of damage. You can see Practical having to throw the shield. The dome comes down, but Practical One takes that leap smash and goes down. So really good start by Legendary. Legendary's going to have to make sure that Practical One does not get rezzed up. You can see Shwazy working his way over there trying to get the res. Is he able to do it? It looks like he is, so this is not looking good for Legendary. Legendary is still going to have to stay over here. He's taking Practical One so close to death again. If Practical One goes down, Practical will be on the dropship. So you can see, oh, the rock barely misses, but the flame is going to take care of the rest of that support player, and that leap smash barely missing ACAF. ACAF getting leap pounce, getting ready to go down. The healing burst coming out at a clutch time, but one more heavy attack might do the job. ACAF going so close to going down, and you can see him deciding to focus Shwazy, splitting up that damage, making it even more dangerous for this Hunter team. So Legendary has a lot of health to work with, and he could take out a player here. ACAT doing an awesome job down at the bottom, but still goes down to the leaf smash. Shwazy and Tharmac are all that's left, and Shwazy is about to go down. So unless he can dodge that rock going out on Tharmac. Leap smash on Shwazy. Tharmac, all that's left, he's got to do a lot of permanent health damage. And you can see Legendary getting up on the rock here. He hits Tharmac with that. The shield about to come down on Tharmac, and this flame is going to be all she wrote for the Salge team. So a great effort by Salge, but Legendary just showing why he is the top, or one of the top Goliaths on the scene. Legendary, a very impressive stage 3 fight there, and doing an awesome job of being able to take advantage of that strike he was able to get on Practical One. So Legendary taking the victory for Penta. That brings the scoreline to Penta 3, Salge 0. So Penta will be taking this best of 5 series in a dominating performance, really showing why they are the top team, or one of the top teams in the scene. So really an awesome performance there. I wish Tim was here so we could analyze that together, but really Legendary doing a good job sneaking at the beginning. He had a questionable evolve there in the cave, but ultimately doing what he needed to do to take that victory. So really great performance, and even from the Penta's Hunter team, we saw them making great decisions, especially when Cajones got the down on the medic, and them doing a good job of splitting up. So really, all around, solid performance from Penta. Salge, very good team, coming out here, having a very respectable performance, doing a good job. But, you know, Penta is just a force to be reckoned with. And, you know, maybe it's the maps, but Salge and Penta coming out here, both putting on a great show for the stream. So we really appreciate it. Thanks to both teams, and congratulations to Penta for taking this victory here today in this matchup of Salge versus Penta for the Gentlemen's League. I hope you guys really liked watching. Check our website out at thegentlemensleague.net. drop us a line. This is a community-run stream, community-run organization. If you want to get involved, if you have some skills that you want to bring to the table and help us out, we're willing to work with anybody who loves the game, who loves Evolve, and we're ready to bring the competitive scene into the spotlight and really do everything we can for the game and just elevate it. So anyway, thank you everybody for watching. Please be sure to follow us on Twitter as well. I think it's Evolve TGL or at TGL Evolve. I'm not sure, but check us out. I think it's Evolve TGL. So thank you again for watching. Thanks to both teams. We will be having more games this next week, so tune in, and thanks again.